Welcome to Centennial School District Board meeting tonight on Wednesday, April the 8th. Excited to have a packed house here tonight, and directors, you have had the agenda sent out around you prior to the meeting. Let me mute myself over here because I've got some echo. There we go, perfect. If I could have someone please motion to adopt the agenda of flexibility, since we have some second graders here for school report today, we can get them going and go from
So
there.
moved.
Seconded.
Perfect. All those in favor, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, Principal Anderson, we'd like to invite you and your Pleasant Valley cohort on up to the front.
All right, second graders, are you ready?
So cute. Superintendent Owens, would you like to go ahead and tee this up while they're getting technology figured out over there?
Absolutely. Good to see everybody this evening. I know that we have our winter athletes who are here to be recognized, and we also have, as Director Vice Chair Mooring had mentioned, we have Pleasant Valley Elementary here this evening. They have included some second graders into their presentation, and as we know, our second graders, although they would like to stay up late, they do have a bedtime, so we want to make sure that we get them in. As you may or may not know, we have been featuring schools per board meeting. We'll do half of our schools this year and half of our schools next year. And the idea is for our board members and our audience to get an idea of what's happening in our schools. They get a report from me every board meeting, but it's better for them to hear from the school staff and what's happening there rather than me each time. So it looks like Principal Anderson has the report queued up here, and you can see it on the screen. We have two screens here, and then those of you who are at home also can see it as well. And so I'll go ahead and turn it over to Principal Anderson. You have a microphone in front of you, and you'll just want to make sure that it's lit to green, and that makes sure that people who are participating virtually can hear you. And you might want to pull it closer to yourself so that the microphone works better. All right, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Principal Anderson and her team to take it away.
Okay, well, thank you guys for having us here today. We're excited to share what our students have been doing at Pleasant Valley, and we wanted to make sure that we were not only just telling you about it, but giving you an opportunity to see it. So these guys have been working on being a part of this presentation so they can be the ones to present to you, and then they've also, along with their parents, allowed us to have a video of them actually learning during their class, so you can see what that looks like when they are doing their direct phonics instruction. So, you're up. You got to talk into the mic.
Hi, my name is Giovanni. In your first video, you will see an auditory drill. This drill helps us hear a sound and quickly match to write the letters or letters that make a sound.
Is there a way to turn volume up?
Javari, and my teacher is Miss Lyko. My name is Madeline, and my teacher is Miss Baker.
Hey, welcome. Glad to have you all here.
Giovanni, who's your teacher?
For those online, we are just working through some technical difficulties on the presentation. Thank you for your patience.
All right, let's see if this works any better.
Write the sounds that our vowel teams make. So I'm going to give you a board to work on and a pen.
Yay.
When I say the vowel team sound, you're going to write what vowel team makes, spells that sound. Right? So let's start with oi. How do you spell oi? Nice job, Javari. What did you say for oi? How do you spell oi?
O-Y-O-I.
Thanks. Let's try another one. Spell A. A. Ideas, good. A. Nice work. Giovanni, how did you spell A?
A first and then Y.
Good. A-Y. Violet, how did you spell A?
A-I-E-Y.
Nice job. Chase, can you give me a way that you spelled A?
A-Y-A-I.
Nice work. And which one did you do? How did you spell A? Which one? You can choose one.
E-Y.
Nice work. Yeah, E-Y spells A. How about this one? O. What vowel team could you use for O? O. How could we spell O?
O.
The long
First.
O sound. Yeah. Okay. Good. Nice work. Let's do one more. Let's spell I.
Oh.
Long I. How could we spell I? When we've been practicing I. Good. How did you spell long I?
I-G-H.
Good work. All right, go ahead and erase your board and put the cap on your pen.
Hi, my name is Javari. In this next video, you'll see one of our blending drills. This activity helps us blend words fluently to become better readers.
The next one, yeah.
All right, we're gonna work on some blending. So I'm gonna write a word and our job is to blend the sounds together to read the word. Let's start with this word. Good, ready? We're gonna go this way. Word?
Squirt.
Good, I'm gonna change one sound to make a new word. Ready?
Skirt.
Word?
Skirt.
Nice job. I'm gonna change another sound to make a new word. Ready?
Shirt.
Word? Sure. Good blending. Let's change the vowel sound. Ready? Sure. Word? Sure. Nice job. Okay, I'm gonna take away a sound to make a new word. Ready? Sword. Word? Sword. Nice blending. All right, let's do this. Port. Nice job. I'm gonna change the vowel again. And ready, blend? Port. Word? Port. Nice job.
Little remix finish there.
In this video, you will learn how we are shown a new idea and how we are shown how everything we learn is connected.
All right, we're gonna work on our sound box.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Wait, I see myself. I see myself. I don't know.
All right, we're gonna work on our sound boxes. Here's a nice word. Okay, first word. Flip. Say flip. Tap it out. How many sounds did you hear? 4. All right, nice job. Box in your 4 boxes. Remember, 1 sound per box for the word flip. Right, 1 sound per box. What's the first sound in flip?
F.
What comes next?
A.
Nice job. All right, good work. All right, next word is frog. Say frog. Let's tap it out. How many sounds did you hear?
4.
Nice job. Box in your 4 boxes. One sound per box. What sound does that vowel say? What does this word say? Frog. Does frog sound right? What's the vowel sound in frog? Let's tap it out again. Ah. What vowel says ah?
O.
Yeah, can you change that to an O? All right, our next word is fast. Tap out fast. How many sounds?
4.
Nice job. Go ahead and box in your 4 boxes. Fast. 1 sound per box. Can we do lowercase letters, please? We'll do 1 more word, okay? Next word is plan. Say plan. Let's tap it out. How many sounds did you hear?
4.
Nice. Box in those 4 boxes. Plan. What vowel sound is that? What does that vowel say?
I.
What sound does I say?
I.
So that would be plin. How do we say ooh, what sound does that vowel say? That would say plen. Listen to plan. What do we hear in there? Well, and remember that whiny nasal A? Yeah. Oh, that's our vowel team, AI. Remember the whiny nasal A says an, plan. Right? Do you remember that one? Good job. All right.
Hi, my name is Madeline. In this video, we get to point everything we are learning together by reading a story.
All right. We're going to practice the skills we've been learning by reading the story. Brad Wit.
Why does it sometimes?
We're going to practice the skills we've been learning by reading the story. Brad quits. Go ahead and start reading. Brad quits. Oh, wait, check that.
We are wondering if you have any question, any you would like to ask us.
Should we start with Director Harden? We'll kind of shoehorn around this way.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Any questions for you? Let me think. What's your favorite things to eat at lunch?
Who wants to take that one? You want to do it? Okay, Maria's right in front of you.
I like to eat orange chicken.
Orange chicken.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Do you want to say one, Centennial? What do you like?
Orange chicken.
Okay, orange chicken's popular. Thank you, Director Harden. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It's always so special when we hear these reports, and this is my home school. My kids go, my son goes, my daughter will be there this fall. So it's great to just see everything that you're doing kind of brought outside of the classroom. And I'm trying, whenever I hear these reports, I always try to put myself back in elementary school and learning how to count out syllables and how to do math and things like that. And it's amazing how we learn those things at such a young age, and we carry it with us the rest of our lives. It just reinforces how important the work is that you all do every day. So again, just thank you for being here, everybody. Really appreciate your presentation. It was amazing. And my question for you is, what is your favorite subject at school? What do you like to learn the most about?
Can't be recess.
Can't say recess.
Yeah, not
Math.
math. Okay.
What do you want to answer, Glenn?
Math. Math. Math.
All right. We'll do math presentation next year. Thank you. Dr. Slosky.
Yeah, thank you. Go Pilots. My kids were both pilots back in the day. So it's great. Who's the PE teacher there? Is it still Mr. Nemo or what?
Nemo, yeah.
Mr. Nemo? Mr. Nemo. I'm surprised that none of you said PE because Mr. Nemo is pretty famous. I don't have any questions. You guys did such a great job. Thank you.
Just like everyone else said, I really thank you all for coming here today. It was brave to come and speak to a bunch of adults and on the internet forever. And like everyone else has said, we really appreciate hearing what's going on at your school. It is not my home elementary school. My children went to a different school in the district, so good to hear what's going on there. And I have no other questions. Thank you.
Nice job, kiddos. I teach kids to read every day. I saw so many good things. You practiced so hard. It was pretty awesome. Thank you for coming and taking the time. My question for you is, how did it feel talking in front of this room with all these people looking at you? I think I know how you feel. You're raising your hand every time. Tell me how you feel.
I feel comfortable.
Comfortable? Yeah, that works for me. Like, I'm glad you feel comfortable. Anybody else?
Happy.
Great. I'm so glad you feel happy.
Happy.
Happy? Yay.
Happy.
I'm glad you're happy. You made all of us happy, and now we're all very comfortable, and we understand what's happening at your school. So thanks, kids. We appreciate it very much. And thank you to your teachers and principal.
Well, thanks for having us tonight. It was fun to share what they've been learning and to actually show you what's going on in our classrooms. So we appreciate you taking the time to hear us.
Great job.
All right. Bye. Thank you again. Okay, directors, let me take your attention to the next item on our agenda, which is our reading of the Arab American Heritage Month Proclamation. We'll go ahead and start with you, Director Stanley, and take our turn to stand. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Did they? Oh, I don't.
All right. Whereas from April 1st through April 30th, 2026, the United States celebrates National Arab American Heritage Month, and whereas for over a century, Arab Americans have been making valuable contributions to every aspect of American society in medicine, law, business, education, technology, government, military service, culture, and
Whereas Victor George Atiyeh, who served as the 32nd governor of Oregon, was the first Arab American elected governor of a U.S. state, highlighting the prominence of Arab Americans in political leadership and service to the public. And whereas, since migrating to America, people of Arab descent have shared their rich culture and traditions with neighbors and friends, while also setting fine examples of model citizens and public servants, and
Whereas the history of Arab Americans in the U.S. remains neglected or distorted by misconceptions, bigotry, and anti-Arab hate in the form of crimes and speech, and whereas Arab American issues such as civil rights abuses, Harmful stereotyping and bullying must be actively confronted in the forms of education and awareness. And
whereas the incredible contributions and heritage of Arab Americans, have helped us build a better nation. And whereas the Centennial School District serves a richly diverse student body where Arab American learners and families are essential contributors to the cultural, academic, and civic life of our schools and communities.
And whereas the Centennial School District Board is committed to celebrating and appreciating each student for their distinct and vibrant contributions made by sharing cultures, languages, ideas, beliefs, and values within a school community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Board of Directors for the Centennial School District, hereby recognize April 1st through April 30th, 2026 as National Arab American Heritage Month, and encourage staff, students, and the community to observe, recognize, and celebrate the culture, heritage, and economic contributions of the Arab American community to Oregon and the United States through culturally relevant activities and to deepen understanding of the experiences that have shaped our nation.
Thank you, directors. Appreciate you doing that. And fun fact, I met the nephew of Georgia Tia. He owns and operates the Mediterranean Grill in Happy Valley. If you want to hear any more, it just so happened that we were there and there's a plaque on the wall for Georgia Tia. So it was really interesting conversation over lunch recently. That would be my plug. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the main event for everybody that's here. It's our recognition of the winter athletes. Superintendent Owens, would you like to tee us up for this ceremony?
Yeah, it's great to see a packed house, and I would say if there's anybody out in the hallway, we welcome you to come in. There's seats up here at the table. I want to make sure that everybody's here to be recognized as included in the presentation. Yeah, okay. But what I can say is that as evidenced by how many people are here, Centennial Athletics is on the uprise. We saw a lot of folks go to playoffs and go to state, and so we're really excited this evening to hear about your accomplishments and to be able to recognize the things that you have done this season. I know for the parents that are here, there's a lot that you put into your student athletes in terms of making sure that they get to practice, attending their games, giving them encouragement, giving them food, making sure they get to bed on time. So we appreciate all that our parents are doing to help our student athletes as well. I'll go ahead and turn it over to CHS Principal Marin Miller and our Athletic Director Dante Gouge to go ahead and orient us to the different teams and athletes that we'll be recognizing tonight. So Principal Miller, go ahead and take it away.
Let's have our MESA team come up here. So all of our MESA team come up and stand up. All right, first of all, as the proud principal of Centennial High School, I want to introduce you to our MESA team. I'm going to have them go around and introduce themselves first, and then I'm going to read a brief statement, and then I'm going to have them explain their project. So do you guys want to come and introduce yourselves?
Okay. My name is Luke.
My name is Fernanda.
My name is Alexandra.
My name's Tong.
All right, congratulations to our MESA team. These students earned third place in the Oregon MESA Demonstration Day following a strong performance in regional engineering and design competition back in March. MESA stands for Math, Engineering, Science, and Achievement. Their project was an open source, low-cost soldering station designed to help individuals safely and affordably learn to soldering skills. This work reflects ingenuity, tech skills, and communication, and expands hands-on learning. They earned third place in this prestigious competition, so let's give them a round of applause. They will be advancing on to state competition in May. We are very proud of them, and they are showing their eagle spirit with their competitions. Let's give them another round of applause. All right, I'm going to get out of their way. Do you want to explain what your project is?
Well, the project we developed was for educators, or parents, grandparents, whatever, who want to teach their kids how to solder, but don't have a cost-effective, simple, and, well, yeah, simple way of, well, teaching their kids how to solder. So we decided to develop our own open source soldering station. That is it. Simple.
All right, good job. And are you guys looking forward to the state competition?
Yes.
Yes, and we're looking forward to even more awards as they go. Let's give them one round of applause. Good. If you guys would go ahead and sit down, and we'll get pictures right after this. All right, next, as you may or may not know, we had an extraordinary winter season, and so next I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gouge, as we are going to be recognizing our student athletes and also our coaches for this extraordinary winter season that we had.
Yeah, it's been a great winter, and it's been an exciting start to spring. We have a lot to celebrate after the winter season, so we're just going to kind of take it from the top. Unfortunately, tonight, Coach Annie Ellett from the High Seas dance team is not here. They were actually the first time in my 4 years of being at Centennial that we're academic state champions in 5A for the dance team with a team GPA of 3.8. Annie also was recognized this year both by us at the Metropolitan Dance Competition as well as state for celebrating her 60th, yes, 60th year coaching at Centennial. I won't ask anybody to raise their hands if they're over 60 years old, but I can see it from where I'm at, and I do not want to raise my hand. So, next we'll move on to swimming. So first, we would like to congratulate Coach Rod Lundgren, who is somewhere behind me, for being named NWAC Coach of the Year for boys swimming. We had a couple first teamers in swimming. Miles Moore was first team in the 200-yard individual medley, that always throws me off, as well as the 100-yard butterfly. On the girls team, Layla Torres was first team in the 200-yard freestyle and second team in the 500-yard freestyle, and both competed for Centennial at state.
And Layla is here,
Yep.
and Miles is not.
So, Layla, please stand up. The boys swim team, just so we are keeping track, had a 3.25 GPA, and the girls swim team had a 3.18 team GPA. All of our teams were in the top 10 statewide, so it's been a great year also in the classroom. For the girls basketball team, I believe I saw Nellie. So Nellie Robinson. Nellie, are you here? There's Nellie. Nellie was honorable mention all conference. And her teammate, Nene Garrett, I don't think Nene was at the track meet but didn't come over, was second team all conference. The girls finished the season with a 3.27 team GPA. All right. Now we start recognizing a lot of people. So we'll start with the boys wrestling team, who finished the season with a 3.05 GPA. That's a cumulative GPA for the varsity team, which is just over 35 athletes, close to 40 athletes. So averaging that out, 43. So we'll start with the honorable mentions. The following athletes were recognized as the Northwest Oregon Conference. Joe Williams, if you're here, go ahead and stand up and wave. Logan Marcus. Josh Cortez. Brian Sicarios. Luke Chambers. Driver Curtis, I think he's still at track. So Driver Curtis. Anthony Ramirez. Tim Petrienko. Levi Hartman. Ozzy Torres Hernandez. Manny Soriano. There's Manny. And Liam Miller. Over there. First team all conference was Josh Kuhl. Jared Schneider. He's still at the track meet. And Aiden Welsick. Aiden was also recognized as third team All-State for placing third at state. Jared Schneider placed fifth at state and was recognized as honorable mention All-State. And was recognized as the Northwest Oregon Conference Male Wrestler of the Year. And the wrestling accolades keep on coming, everybody. So here we go. The girls' team GPA was a 3.14 for just over 35 girls. The Northwest Oregon Coach of the Year was Aaron Schneider. The girls' team was the 5A, 6A regional champions. They were the Northwest Oregon champions. And Coach Schneider, Coach Ian, I think those are the only two that are here today. Our girls coaching staff was also named as the OSAA 5A Coaching Staff of the Year for girls wrestling. The following wrestlers were named honorable mention on the girls' side. Mia Perez Gomez. Alex Corey. Alex is a fun one because she also competed at state in cheerleading and OCCA cheer, so she was kind of doing double duty in the winter. Double duty. Okay. Also being honorable mention was Olivia Flores. Ingrid Magadan. Lucy Mendoza. Cosma Moulton. Yahira Herrera. Esmeralda Gonzalez Torres. And we're still going. Alma Bazante Villa. And Alora Dunn. Earning second team honors, Madeline Knox. Raina Schneider. And Olgin Fabilis. Being recognized as first team all-conference, Sofia Yurko. Alexa Fontaine. Jordan Dunkerson. Gwenny Bajorquez. And Genesis Aguiano. Olivia Flores was also fourth at state, earning honorable mention all-state team. Boys basketball. Okay, here we go. Boys basketball finished in the top 5 in the state in academics, 3.51 GPA. The following athletes made honorable mention: Harold Turner, Quentin Neal. To my left, Jamel Baker. Currently running at the track meet right now, Darius Andrews. Second team all-conference, Dakari Mitchell. Second team all-conference, Sincere Poe. First team all-conference, Drake Walsh. The more impressive part of that is we had 4 teams all in the placings at state out of our conference. So to be honored at all in this conference was pretty tough this year. Making the second team all-state tournament team, Drake Walsh and Dakari Mitchell. And the all-state honors just came out for the entire 5A state, making honorable mention Dakari Mitchell, Sincere Poe, and second team all-state 5A, Drake Walsh. Just within the last few weeks, we actually had Dakari Mitchell was offered a full ride scholarship to Oregon State for men's basketball. And for the first time since its inception, Centennial Eagles next year will be playing in the Les Schwab Invitational, which is the #1 tournament on the West Coast. I'd say that was a good winter, everybody. Now we'd like each of you to come up and say a few words.
Wow, thank you very much. I was not very athletically gifted, so it's always amazing to hear what everybody is doing with their athletic gifts. And congratulations to everybody in the room for your accomplishments this past season. We just love the way you're showing everybody what Centennial can do. And we can start around the room with Director Stanley. Would you like to say anything to our athletes?
Everybody knows it's hard work doing all the things, but I am really glad we get to recognize the students. But dang, your parents, give them a big old hug and a high five or something when you get home, because they make sure you have all the things you need to be able to be your best at every game you're at. So thank your parents and thank your coaches. They really give you a lot of time and a lot of love. So thanks, everybody.
I'm just going to look this way because you're all ahead. But for everyone, great work. I know that it's a lot to do practices and still maintain your classwork and keep up with all that. So it was great to hear some really great grade point averages for across the teams, everyone above 3.0 or averages, and while still excelling in sports. So great work, everyone.
I just thank you all for coming. It's so great to have this room full of people again and just full of students in life. You guys are fantastic. Your parents are fantastic. Boy, boys basketball was really exciting to watch. Wrestling, the state tournament I was watching along. You guys did fantastic. I'm really proud of all of our Eagles. Thank you all very much. Don't clap for me, clap for you.
Thank you all for coming. Go Eagles.
I think one of the exciting things is we have some great seniors that are leaving our programs, but just really quickly, if you're an underclassman, freshman, sophomore, junior, please raise your hand. So the future is bright. The future is bright.
If you're not a senior, raise your hand.
The future is bright. Thank you. Give everybody another round of applause. Great job. Great job, everybody. Okay, directors, we're going to take a 10-minute break so we can do photos with our athletes in the halls. We'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:16.
Before you leave, we're going to be getting pictures. We'll start with Mesa, and then we'll go and then we'll do wrestling, and then we'll do boys basketball, and swim. So we'll be doing all those pictures.
Perfect. And we'll see everybody back for the meeting in 10 minutes.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Moving on to our next agenda item, which is approval of minutes from the March 11th meeting. The minutes were distributed in board book. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes posted in board book.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will abstain since I wasn't here.
And one abstention. Thank you. Okay, next up we have public forum. And do you have a thing to read before public forum? During the public forum section of the agenda, individuals are welcome to share constructive feedback on district operations and programs. The purpose of this agenda item is for you to inform us about your views. By board policy, the board will not hear comments regarding any district staff member, and the use of appropriate respectful language is expected. Board members will not respond to public comment and will refer matters of operations and programming to the superintendent. This portion of the meeting will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Your statement should be concise and will be limited to 3 minutes. Your time will be monitored by our board executive assistant. Speaking order will be based on the date, time received, the request. If there are 3 or more individuals requesting to speak on the same topic, we may ask that responses be consolidated. If requests to speak outnumber the time available, those individuals not speaking are encouraged to provide their written comments to Ms. Grindle for distribution after the meeting. Please address your remarks to me as board chair, not to specific board members nor the public. Thank you so much. Please state your name and spelling, if helpful, and your association with the Centennial School Districts. I believe we have 2 folks registered tonight.
Right. Cassidy Rogers is
Perfect.
first.
Good evening.
My name is Cassie, C-A-S-S-I-D-Y, and I'm a parent of a child with responsibility in the Centennial School District. So I wanted to tell you guys a story. So my best friend's daughter was recently praised by her teacher for the kindness that she shows classmates in her class with extra needs. She told her teacher that she has an autistic friend, so she knows about extra needs and how to help. Through just friendship and exposure, she learned empathy, patience, communication, and acceptance, because that's what inclusion does. The child she learned about autism from is my son. Right now, my son is not in a classroom. He's receiving home instruction because the district has not provided an appropriate in-school placement. And while that impacts him deeply, it also impacts every other child who doesn't get the chance to learn alongside him. It impacts your teacher's ability to learn how to include all students and use trauma-informed language and practices. When you exclude a child like mine, you're not just removing him from the classroom, you're removing opportunities for other students too. With inclusion, students learn how to communicate with people who are different from them, build compassion and flexibility, and grow into adults who understand what disabilities look like in the real world. True and safe inclusion is not just about access for one child, it's about shaping the community we want for all of our children. This is my son. He's 7. His name is Stover Harger IV, and he has a lot to offer. He's not just a student with extra needs, he's a classmate, a friend, and a teacher in his own way. He's amazing at math and science, and his memory is like a steel trap. I want to say this clearly. He will grow up. He will become somebody in this world. He'll find his place, his strengths, and his voice. And when that happens, no teacher or administrator in this district will be able to take credit for his success. Because right now, you're choosing to not include him. If you choose not to include your disabled students now, you can't include yourself in their successes in the future. Please do the right thing and provide more placement options for disabled students in your district. All of your students deserve to benefit from true and safe inclusion. Thank you, and happy Autism Acceptance Month.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Mr. Rosa?
All right, hello. My name is Drew Rosa, D-R-E-W-R-O-S-A. I am the president of the Centennial Education Association. Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Owens. On behalf of the Centennial Education Association, I wanted to start by acknowledging the ratification of our 2025 through 2028 contract from our end, and thank the board and their district leadership and the work it took on both sides to reach this agreement. I know that it reflects a shared understanding that supporting educators is essential to supporting students. As part of this agreement, several provisions, including the updated salary schedule, will take effect retroactively to July 1st, 2025, once ratified by the board. And I saw that's on your agenda tonight, so very excited about that. But a contract alone cannot solve the structural challenges our district faces. Across Oregon, districts like Centennial are operating in a system that simply isn't funded to meet the needs of our students. One of the clearest examples is the state special education funding cap. When districts exceed the 11% threshold, districts must cover those costs with general education dollars. Dollars that would otherwise support smaller class sizes, student supports, and programs across schools. This is not a problem Centennial can solve alone, but it is something we can push together to change. When educators, school boards, administrators, families, and community members advocate separately, our voices are easy to ignore. When we stand together with a unified message about what our students need, it becomes much harder to dismiss. CEA looks forward to working collaboratively with the board, with our superintendent, and our community to advocate for the funding our students deserve and to continue building a district that truly supports every learner. Our educators are ready to do that alongside of you all, so thank you.
Ms. Aressa? Just confirming that is all public comment tonight? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to our reports section. We do not have a student representative report. I believe one was at a track meets, and we know that they were all busy with that. So we will move on to our roadmap, second trimester updates. And it looks like you are up, Dr. Katsuda. Take your time, no rush.
All right, it's my pleasure to present second trimester roadmap 27 board report. Let me make sure my volume is on. Yes, it is. All right, so I'm going to be toggling back and forth between a slide presentation that'll guide us and our brand new district dashboard, of which I've sent all board members a link to. You have the opportunity, if you so wish, to be accompanied by a cabinet member if you want to co-pilot in looking at that dashboard. As you're looking at it, if it's hard to navigate or you can't get it up. So I just want to make sure before I move forward that everyone has been able to access the dashboard, and when you open it up, it should look like this. Okay. Anyone need assistance? Anyone want a co-pilot? No? Oh, okay, next time. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Okay. So to start off with, I wanted to celebrate the fact that we have pulled together a strategic plan data dashboard. It's been a long time in the making. We partnered with Multnomah Education Service District to be able to pull together this dashboard, of which I've linked you to today. Dashboard covers the significant features of our strategic plan and the metrics therein, specifically centering around our significant goals around the foundations of student well-being and empowering students in their future readiness. And so all the metrics you see reflected here on this beautiful slide, we're going to be reviewing today. Okay. So as a refresher, the goals and metrics for Roadmap 27, goal number 1, building a strong foundation pre-K 3, means that pre-K through third grade students will develop foundational academic and social-emotional learning skills necessary for future success. And we've identified 2 metrics. One is an annual metrics, and you'll see on my slides here, if you need a visual, that I've color-coded the annual metric in blue. James is asking me to blow up my slide a little bit more. I can, but then when I toggle to the dashboard, it'll decrease my screen. So I'm getting ready to toggle. I'm going to toggle in a bit. I will try to, nope, when I blow it up, I don't see the whole thing here. Okay, I will go to the full slideshow. Okay, yes. Second goal, supporting every student's well-being and inclusion. Every student will feel safe, supported as a learner, experience inclusive classroom and school communities that nurture their sense of belonging. You'll see there are 2 metrics identified: student survey items specific to that construct of belonging and inclusivity, and then attendance as a metric. Goal 3, centering student voice, empowerment, and leadership. Every student will be empowered to use their voice and exercise choice within their classroom and school communities. That's been a significant emphasis throughout our strategic plan for educators in our schools. And we've identified student survey items, again, specific to the construct of engagement and empowerment. The 4th goal, ensuring equitable access to high-quality academics, could be naturally paired with goal 1, which is around the academics for pre-K through 3 students. Every student will engage in rigorous learning and receive the necessary support and resources to ensure their academic success. And you'll see there again the blue highlighted metric, which is an annual metric, and then the ongoing grade 4 through 11 interim assessments for reading and math were identified to monitor our progress in that goal. And then goal 5, future ready. Every student will graduate with the skills necessary to thrive in a diverse and rapidly evolving world. So we have 9th grade on-track metrics. We also have 4-year graduation rates as well as 5-year completer rates. We will be reviewing that today, and that's an annual metric. And I don't know why I didn't list it there, because that is a metric. So what I would like to do now, I'm going to be toggling back and forth. I'm going to invite you to go to your dashboard. It should look like this. Let me shrink my screen just a tad more so you can see this here. All right. So you'll see here, I'm going to ask you to click on, or look in your left-hand column here, and you will see, it's very small. Let me blow it up now. This is a thing about Zoom, you know? Okay, you'll see in the left-hand column here are toggle bookmarks that take you to the data dashboard screen that we've built out for that particular metric. You'll see the very first metric is tied to our goal number 1, building strong foundation for pre-K through 3. It is the grade 3 OSAS, and again, it says by year, so it's annual. So what you'll see here is last year's metric, but I'll use this screen to orient you to sort of the structure of every other data set here. You'll see at the top right-hand corner a blue box that says subject. If you click on that, you can actually toggle back and forth between math or English language arts, and in our case, very specifically reading, right? And so you'll see here as we go back to English language arts for grade 3, in 2024-25, last school year, students in the Oregon State Annual Assessment, 32.3% of them met or exceeded grade level benchmark or grade level standards there, right? You'll see also on every screen an annual year-by-year graph, and the green line represents the excellence target, and if you hover over it, it'll actually show you what the excellence target is and the percentage proficient for that school year. So if you go to 2024-25 and hover over that year, you'll see sort of that cross grid of the vertical and horizontal line. Proficiency is 32%, and the excellence target will always remain 45.6. But that's a good way to to kind of get a sense if the barcode or if the bar of the graph is actually fairly close or beyond the excellence target to actually see the specific data there, right? And you'll see here in this semicircle graph, the visual here, this is the excellence target for our 2027 school year. This is the ultimate target, and then you'll see the metric here for the latest school year, right? Down below, in most of the data screens, you'll see a bar graph in the lower left-hand corner that disaggregates the data by race and ethnicity. And then in the right-hand corner of the data dashboard screen, you'll see the data disaggregated by gender and services. Yeah.
So is the benchmark something that the students we wouldn't expect to see a high rate of proficiency until the spring or the end of the year, or are there like fall benchmarks, winter benchmarks, spring
Correct.
benchmarks?
When we get to the interims, yes.
Okay.
Right? So the OSAS test will assess the learning for the year, what they're expected to know at that grade level, right? But the interim benchmarks are assessing them at that moment, and so, yeah. So this is annual assessment. It's not something that is super valuable when you're monitoring the progress throughout the school year because it's annual, right? But it's a very good data point for us assessing the effectiveness of our systems and structures in the school district, and we look at it with that lens, right? So I'm going to invite you to go to grade 3, the second toggle, or I would call it a bookmark for lack of a better word, on the left-hand side, and you'll see third grade STAR assessment. And what should show up is a third grade measure for STAR, and that would be the winter benchmark, what recently was completed, right? Again, you'll see the excellence target in the middle of this half circle graph here, as well as where we are in number or percentage of students who are at grade level proficiency or above, right? And then you'll see again over time for this school year where students have how students progress percentage-wise. So in the fall, 38.6 we're meeting benchmark in ELA STAR assessments, and our excellence target will remain 45.6. Move to winter 36.8, so we went down a little bit, right? You'll see here again disaggregated by race and disaggregated by services. We have not disaggregated STAR by gender, and I think I'm trying to figure out why, because I believe we do have that information, but we haven't disaggregated it by gender. So I will go back to my slide deck. You'll see here just in summary, just looking at what you just looked at, third grade interim reading STAR assessment. Our goal by 2027 was 45.6 level, percentage of students meeting proficiency, grade level proficiency. And I would say overall for winter term, we have flatlined, I would call it a flatline decrease. So it's fairly flat, but dipping down a little bit by a couple percentage points from fall of 38.6% of students meeting grade level benchmark, and then 36.8 at winter. Disaggregated by race, again, we're flatlined for the most part, with multiracial and white meeting or exceeding the grade level goal, right? And if you look down here at the bottom, multiracial, I've identified that. Multiracial is 46.9. Remember, our excellence target is 45.6, so they're barely over our excellence target, right? Multiracial, and what did I say before? And white, right? So you'll see here, even though white has decreased from fall to winter term, their percentage of white students, 48.1%, exceeds our excellence target of 45.6. And also say we're flatlined for students receiving ELL services and special education services here. And you'll say, well, that doesn't quite make sense, because you see the light blue bar representing winter data is slightly increased. I'll say again, 10.1% to 13.9% is not much. That's not statistically significant. It's, and considering how many ELL students, it doesn't really in the end, result in many ELL students at or above grade level benchmark. And 13.9% is far below our excellence target, right? That we always need to keep in mind is where's our excellence target? How are they in terms of the overall proportion of students at or above grade level? And what is our growth rate as well, right? So that's a summary of goal 1. I'll say as we move forward, despite some of the flatlining that we have seen in pre-K3 and in other grade levels, we remain committed and see some progress in terms of the quality of work within the PLC model that we've focused on this year. And so, and I also know the better we get at things like curriculum mapping and the more we can focus on differentiating instruction and supporting our students in their learning, right? So we're committed to the plan that we've started this year, and we're starting to see some traction there. So, and this represents, for the most part, what we discussed in our last fall update. Do you have a question?
If I'm remembering correctly, the data that we're looking at now is indicative of kids that have not gone through the K1 and 2 grade level processes with the new specific instruction, the new PLC models, the new, like, they haven't followed that entire cycle yet, correct? Like, this is, so since I've joined the board, it's been a new sort of looking at, it's different curriculum, it's different assessment pieces, so they haven't gone through a full, like, 3-year cycle of having all that instruction yet, right?
I would say we've been working on PLCs and strengthening instruction through our use of curriculum now since the start of our strategic plan.
Okay.
And now we're moving into 3rd year. I would also add that I think coming out of COVID and a variety of other things, not as an excuse but as a factor, it's taken a while for us to gain some traction, and I feel like we're on a good path, and it wouldn't serve us to pivot and swivel to something new when we haven't yet had a chance to fully implement what we have. So I would say yes and no, because we're getting better and improving our practices through our plan, and we have a long ways to go in terms of the improvement of our PLC processes and structures. And I'll say, just pointing back to practice again, PLCs is a very strong, proven lever for improving practices, instructional practices, and so we're remaining committed to that. Yeah.
I have a question. So when should we plan on seeing results from the traction we're getting?
When
should we expect the numbers to rise? Because
that
I mean,
is a very good
I feel
question.
like we're at a very stalemate, flat line.
Yes.
There hasn't been growth, and I'm glad to hear that we're making traction. I understand the need to not want to pivot and reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
But when, as a board, when, as a community, when can we start seeing some results for our students?
That is a very good question. So I'm hoping by spring term we'll start to see the numbers rise. I know as we've been assessing students in the schools and some of the assessments in between interims, we're seeing some growth for some of our students. And I don't have that data here because it's more of a high level data presentation, but we are seeing some growth, and I know that maybe April may be able to speak to some of this, but right now this is the winter interims, and we're hoping that spring we'll see some improvement there.
So a follow-up question to that is, if we don't see the results, when do we pivot? When do we make a change? Because
Yep.
it apparently there's not results to back it up.
Yeah. Well, I do know that as we haven't seen results, representative teams from schools are coming together and looking at that and seeing the lack of movement, and their work has been to shift and adjust some of the plans, not significantly, for example, jumping off of PLCs, but really thinking about things like, what are we focusing on in PLCs? Are we focused on the right thing, right? If we don't see significant growth by the end of the year, it would be opportunity for our district to come together again and talk about whether or not we need to shift from what we are doing. and what might be the implications of that. Right.
I
We
would-
do have quarterly data summits where we look at this with practitioners from around the district and really thinking about what is working and not working. And to be very frank, really disappointed in the somewhat flatlining that we're seeing across the board, and trying to diagnose as to why that's happening and figuring out if whether or not it's what we're doing or how we're doing it that's not making the difference in terms of growth and outcomes.
I would offer a few things as well, and I also gave a little notion to Director Olson to come up. But what I would say to Director Hardin's question, Roadmap 27, we're in 26 right now, and 27 is next year. We'll be going through strategic plan update next year. And so to your question about where we would reevaluate where we are and our pathway forward, I would say the next school year would be an opportunity for us to reassess our pathway and to see what sort of strategic adjustments we need to make. I also called Director Olson up because has the luxury of having been in this district for a little under a year. And so you have an idea, you don't have the broad perspective, but of some of the things that you walked in and saw and some of the strategic adjustments we're currently making this year with some of the grade level alignment and so forth. So I was hoping you could just give some initial impressions beyond the broad strokes that Dr. Katsuda is offering in terms of what you're noticing coming in and some of the things you're thinking going forward, and you're going to want to have a microphone to do that.
I certainly think that the presentation you saw tonight from Pleasant Valley is a good indication of a pivot that we've made very recently, that we're seeing benefit from, that's not yet playing out in third grade data because we're implementing those science of reading, structured literacy strategies K1, 2. So we are, in our DIBBLS data, we are really seeing benefit from those strategies and that intentional structured literacy instruction daily with students. So that is one pivot that we had just started about this time or a little earlier than this time last year. So we're in a good place where we're kind of past that implementation hurdle, and we're now making some adjustments. Actually, next week we'll be working with our elementary principals around adjustments to their literacy block to enable more of the adults in the system to push in to provide high dosage tutoring support for students as needed. So that's one kind of pivot that we have made over the course of the Roadmap 27 years that, again, we'll hopefully see some growth in. Additionally, with our elementary, since we were really focusing on that metric right now, we have been doing the standards mapping as you know, Superintendent Owens has shared in some of his presentations, and bringing teachers together across grade levels at the district to really digest what are the standards that we're being asked to teach, because that's what's being assessed on the OSAS. And so having an understanding that what we are instructing students and expecting students to learn and know and be able to do aligns with what our outcomes are measuring. So that is another thing that has been new this year.
And this is kind of an on-the-spot question, but as the discussion was unfolding, I was thinking about a recent conversation I was having with a principal with regard to the difference and distinction between growth and achievement. And if you can speak to that, because I think a lot of the metrics that we're seeing on the graphs here have to do with achievement metrics and trajectory towards achievement, but there's also the growth trajectory as well. And I don't know if how that's reflected in what we see. I see Dr. Katsuda kind of with a head head bobble, so I'm not sure what you would offer to that.
I think there is that nuance to look at, and that's something that we do look at the data summits is, of the percentage of students who are below benchmark, who are still below benchmark, what's their growth look like? Are they making expected growth? What percentage of them are making expected growth or not? So we might not see the results in achievement while the growth is catching up. I think there are still a lot of opportunities for us to reflect on that data and think about the strategies that we're using differently. There are some places where, some subgroups where we're seeing growth that we would anticipate, that we would want to see, and we're just going to kind of wait it out to show up in achievement. And there are somewhere we are not seeing that, and that's a different kind of conversation that happens not only at the building leadership team level, but also at the grade level PLC level. I don't know if you want to add to that.
I think it's great. I think one of the concepts I think is really important, particularly across the district, given our outcomes, is this concept of accelerated growth and differentiating to be able to support accelerated growth. I don't think we're there yet, just be honest, and there's some work to be done around that. And so, yeah. Difficult conversations, as always, when you set out a plan and you think it's going well and you're looking at implementation. There are a variety of things that could be happening in our plan. One might be we have a plan, we believe it's being implemented, but it's not being implemented as planned. That's a course where we could that could have the outcome of little growth, right? The other is we're not able to implement the plan. We haven't yet built the skill set or the capacity to do so. The other is the systems and structures, right? So we're having to monitor all of these things and consider the implications of all of these things as we're moving forward. Right. Was there another question?
I was going to apologize for not being clear before, but I think this is more what I meant when I said kids haven't gone through the entire 3 or 4 year cycle with this data. That science of reading instruction and that high dosage tutoring and all of those things, if kids haven't had that in kinder and first and second, you won't see as powerful results in 3rd grade as you will if they've only had it in 2nd or 1st and 2nd.
Yep.
So I think I hope
Yep.
as we see that cycle come through that will a little bit with the PLC work and the data summits and the instructional walks and all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I hear what you're saying.
Data of kids who at least even the young age, sorry. We're still seeing data from kids who still have at least kindergarten still in COVID now.
No.
The kids I taught in kindergarten and COVID are 5th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to do the math and
Yeah.
I just can't believe
Yes.
Yeah.
COVID feels like a long time, feels like it's dragging, yeah. So I want to move us on to goal number 2, supporting every student's well-being and inclusion. If you see on your data dashboard screen, again, the ability to toggle between questions. So you'll see here grade band, secondary, and elementary on the left-hand, top left-hand corner. I'm going to move to elementary. And I'm going to look at there is at least one adult I can go to if I have a problem, which is one of our survey questions. And you'll see here over time the results, starting with the baseline in 2022-23, moving all the way to winter of 26. Right? And again, this 87.4% in the right represents the winner percentage of students who responded positively to that question. Our excellence target remains 95% at the elementary level. You'll see the information or the data disaggregated in the bottom left-hand corner by race. Fairly close to the excellence target, 95%, not quite for all groups. And then students receiving various service, and again, this is disaggregated by gender. Other metrics have not been. Moving to the second question, my school is a welcoming and safe place to be. And again, these are 3 questions from a 10-question, a shorter monitoring survey. Those 10 questions are questions also included in our annual comprehensive survey that we give students that's longer, that dives deeper into some other concepts. Right now, these are the items pulled out particularly specific to well-being and inclusion, right? So you'll see here across time for that particular question, is the school's a welcoming and safe place to be. Excellence targets 95%. We've actually took a dip from fall to winter, 86.9 to 82.3. Disaggregated by race below. If you hover, you can see the percentages there. You'll see how different groups play out, right? And then by service level here. I'm going to pivot to the last question. I feel like I belong at this school. I really like this very simple question that I believe pretty important for us to consider. Again, over time, and you'll see the dip from 88.7 in the fall to 85.7, and that's fairly flat. All we need is for a couple students to be absent, and that shows up in a couple percentages, right? So I caution us to consider a few percentage difference as being significant growth or decrease or decline. It's not given the numbers we have. So it's fairly flat, 85.7 out of the excellence target of 95. I will say a positive highlight here when we disaggregate it by race and ethnicity. Native American or Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander students have a 95.5% strongly agree percentage response rate, which is pretty good because that historically has been a group that's been very clear with us that we are not serving them well. And they do not necessarily feel like they belong. So I feel like that response is a fairly positive, bright spot. And you can see how close we are across time, even though we're fairly flat, how close we are to that 95% excellence target, which is for the end of next year, right? And again, by service level. If you then look at secondary, and you'll see here, I'll start with the first question again. At least one adult I can go to if I have a problem. You'll see on some of these, there's no data. And I'll be very honest with you, at secondary, we had some students complete the survey, some students complete part of the survey and not all of the survey. It is a survey we highly encourage, and at the same time, we can't force students to take the whole survey if they don't want to. So we have, and then in some respects, we have very low response rates for some grades. So at times, we're hesitant to put the data out there because people can incorrectly draw conclusions from a very low sample size. And the response rate and completion of the survey do matter in this. And so in places where the survey response rate was so low, we've suppressed the data. We won't have data in the hopes that our comprehensive survey at the end of the year for all, and we're pushing for that to be completed. We pushed for this one to be completed, and we didn't get the response rate needed in order for us to really pull the data together that would be meaningful for this. That in and of itself is data, right? But and so that's for secondary for this particular question. My school is a welcoming place to be, which is really interesting because we have data for this one. So it shows the number of students who did not answer some of the questions and some of them that did, right? So you'll see here excellence target of 57.4% for this particular question. And then we've dipped from 45.7 in the fall of students who responded positively to this to 40.1% for the winter. And you'll see here again disaggregated by race at the bottom. And students can also opt to not specifically identify their race. And we, in our survey practices, when we administer the survey, we ask students for an ID number so they can remain anonymous, but that ID number allows us to pull the data that's connected to them so we could disaggregate the data. And some students don't put their ID number and they don't elect to self-identify their race and ethnicity, and so we have an unknown mark here. And then we have it broken out by service level and gender at the bottom. Right. I will move to, oh wait, did I, yeah.
So you apparently answered my question of how do students complete the survey? So they do it and it's attached to their ID number. And it's confidential, but is there any, like for example, the one that for elementary school, there's at least one adult I can go to if I have a problem.
Yeah.
That might be information that teachers would like to know if there's a student in their class that doesn't feel like
it's a confidential, high-level survey. If we want more of a very personalized, somewhat like diagnostic, where we're able to identify students, there are more effective ways to work with students around that. This survey, one of the things that was really important to students and to parents when we put together the survey was that it was de-identified, right? There are other ways that we could work with students if they've identified that way, and I guess that would be a concern. And there have been some suggestions that we have an open-ended item at the end of the survey, so students or parents or staff who are responding could write in whatever they want to write in. That isn't technically the purpose of the survey. As soon as we do that, it does identify people. And then, yeah, so we've worked at maintaining our commitment to the anonymous surveying. And if we need to move towards something that's a little bit more closer to practice and that is more of a diagnostic to be able to serve students, there are other ways to do that. And often comes out in work in the classroom and other things, and so that teachers know to intervene with students.
I just feel, and I totally understand that, and I get data confidence and all of that. I just also feel like if a student is saying, I don't have any adult in the classroom that I can go to if I have a problem, that's them identifying the problem for themselves.
Yeah.
Saying, like, I don't even have this. So it would be good
It would be good information, and that's a conversation we've been having with the representative data teams as they see the results and they see responses like this. Then is the next step in the process is, what are we going to do about it? And how do we know, how do we plan for that? Do we have enough information? What information do we need to be able to plan for this? As a principal, you see this data and say, there's another way we can actually work with students so that students can communicate this need to us, or we can identify this need, and then we need a response plan, right? And so that's part of the work for the staff is when you see this data, then what is the action plan? Yep. Okay, and the last question for secondary is, I feel like I belong at this school. Again, flatlining between fall and winter, but almost meeting the excellence target of 59.7%. We're closer this year towards our 2027 goal than we were last year around this particular response, particular survey item. And then you see it disaggregated at the bottom again. Students with disability actually exceeded our excellence target, and students receiving active ELL services exceeded the excellence target that we set for the end of next year. So you can see some brighter spots there, right? The second metric for goal 2 is regular attenders by school year. Our excellence target for the entire district is 67.5%. You can see here regular attenders by grade, and again, if you hover over the bar graphs, it gives you the specifics, but you can actually see the grades with the highest level of attendance are 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And you can see grade 12 having the lowest attendance rates there. And there are a variety of contributing factors to that we could probably explore more deeply with you if we had time. But attendance is challenging at the high school, or at all levels, but at the high school for different reasons in elementary, right? But you can see there, we are making progress in high school despite lower attendance rates overall. You see some creeping up of grade 10 over time, 11 and 12 over time, but still far below where we need it to be and where we want it to be, right? But there is some growth there. And again, disaggregated here. And even though we flatlined between fall and winter term of this year, you can see some growth over previous years for different disaggregated groups. I would say, let's see, across the board, right? And then by service, again, not quite at our excellence target. And I'd say the one group where, as you can see there, non-binary, 25% attendance rate, right, for 2024-25. So This was pulled over the course of time up until last year, right? So here's this year's regular attenders by grade level. Yeah, yeah. So all students, you'll see a percentage of 57.72 with the attendance excellence target at 67.5. But you can see here now, we're seeing some growth from grades 2 through 6. And I say grades 4 is fairly close, but not quite there. But grades 2 through 6 have, were either at or like approaching or beyond the excellence target there. As we disaggregate down below, Asian students exceeding the excellence target. Right? And you can see here disaggregated by service level, which also is a great lens to see things through, and is grounds for additional questions and digging in with more information and data and designing some supports for, right? So in summary, as I'm going through here, you'll see here, goal number 2, I've summarized the metrics as you have just seen them on that page. Elementary goal by 2027, secondary goal by 2027 that are different for every survey item there. And then I've broken it out to the winter survey results there, right? The bottom. And then again, attendance, with the goals being the same between elementary and secondary at 67.5, and that it's grades 1 through 7 is equal, except for that one grade, was it 4? Equal to or exceeding at our excellence target at 67.5. And then for February, grades 2, 5, 6 are equal to or greater than 67.5. So even though we want our regular attenders to far exceed 67.5, we're making some growth in that area, and that's good news. I'm going to try to move us through this a little bit quicker here. So as we toggle to the third goal, student survey results here. Again, elementary, you can toggle elementary, secondary, and you can look at all of the survey items, right? My teachers really listen to me when I talk to them. So you'll see here we have not met the excellence target of 95% at the elementary level. 86.9 is our last mark of winter 2026, which is just a few weeks ago. And we're approaching but have not met our excellence target for all students across disaggregated race and ethnic groups. And that nor have we met our excellence target across service levels and disaggregated by gender, right? And I would say, as you look at the data, you can see it goes up and down a little bit, but generally it's fairly flat, right? So I'll say you can toggle between survey questions for elementary as well as survey questions, and I'm not sure why secondary isn't on there. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. For a couple of questions, it's suppressed, and a couple of questions we have data, right? So what I've done here on a couple of slides to kind of walk us through this, because you can kind of get lost in this data dashboard. It's kind of nice to look at the bar graphs and see the visualized data, but I'm going to keep us walking through the data here. In summary, I pulled out the engagement survey items. I can learn almost anything if I try hard enough. I work hard to do my best in school, and I like going to school. So you can see the elementary goal is 95%, and then secondary goals vary by item, 85, 83.9, and 71%. Those are the goals by 2027. And you'll actually see the positive survey responses, percentage response levels for elementary for each item, number 1, 2, and 3 I've listed there. And remember, elementary's target is 95% by end of next year, but 95%. And secondary's varies by item there. And the third item was suppressed because we didn't have the response rate for the question, I like going to school. These are the indicators for engagement. And then empowerment survey questions. My teachers really listen to me when I talk to them. Adults in this school ask students how to make school better. My classes really make me think. You'll see the elementary goal consistently remains 95% because we were under that and could see growth to that at the elementary level across the years. And so that will remain a consistent metrics across survey responses. And then secondary is 67.2% across all of the items. And you'll see the numbered items correspond to the numbers under elementary and secondary on this slide deck. So you can see the differences there. All right. And again, there's been some ongoing work around multi-tiered systems of support. Our schools continue to hold multi-tiered teaming meetings. We have continued with our equity PD every month in the schools, as led by representatives from the schools, leaders in the schools who are trained through an equity on equity modules here at the district level. We continue to have data summits to look at the data, and our data summits have been intensified at the high school, where we're bringing all 9th grade and 10th grade core teachers together to look at information like grades, attendance, discipline, assessment results, and things like that. And so that continues as they look at improving their practices. They use that data to improve practices. And so you'll see here a lot of the work we have started. We are continuing homerooms advisory class meetings. We're continuing responsive classrooms instruction and continuing to elevate student voice in a variety of our events. Right? I want to pivot to goal number 4. So you'll see here, and the nice thing about these left-hand bookmarks is they're labeled by goal, so that makes it easy for us as well. You'll see here grade 4 through 11 Oregon State assessments, and you can toggle between English, language arts, and math at the top left-hand or right-hand column, and you can toggle between, and you can select the grade level or levels that you want to see here under that, which is helpful, right? And then you'll see grade 4 through 11 STAR data. This is on math now, but if I switch it to English, language arts, or reading, you'll see here grades 4 through 11 in reading, and broken out by grade level, broken out by term, fall and winter, disaggregated by race and ethnicity, and again by service level, the same pattern across all data dashboard screens, right? I'm going to do a summary of that instead of us diving into the dashboard. Now that you've seen that, you'll see the goal by 2027 is 50.5% for grades 4 through 11 for interim reading and 36.4. Yes, it's a combined percentage. And then we look at it by grade level and then look at it at classroom level and so forth, right? And so overall, we've flatlined from fall of 36.7 to 39.7 in the winter. It's slight uptick, but again, I would not call that uptick significant. We're disaggregated by, or in disaggregation by race, we are flatlined with a slight increase for all groups, but sort of a flat with a slight hill. And then when we're disaggregating by service, ELL and special education services, it's flatlined to a slight increase for ELL and special education students. For math, our goal is 36.4% at benchmark, and overall flatline from fall from 18.5 to 20.2% from fall to winter. And then disaggregated by race, flatlined with, again, a very slight increase for all groups except multiracial, which went down. And then disaggregated by service, we're fairly flatlined for ELL, for students receiving ELL and special education services. Right. The last metric or goal we're going to look at is for goal number 5, 9th grade on track. And you'll see here, and you do also have access to the slides in board book, but I've also hyperlinked a data dashboard, which we mimicked for ours, Northwest Regional. So you can look at 9th grade on track to graduate credits on their dashboard, because we are working on still some of the details on our dashboard, but I wanted you to see what it would look like eventually over time as we improve it. Northwest Regional Education Service District has worked hard on their dashboard. The challenge with it, though, is the data is lagging for a lot of the data sets they have, but this is a wonderful dashboard if you've ever had an opportunity to see it. You can actually toggle to any school district in Oregon. Yes. And you can look at all schools, or you can look at a particular school in the district, right? And obviously in our district, Centennial High School is the high school with 9th graders, so that's what you're going to see if you click on that drop-down menu there. But you can actually see 9th grade track over time on the trajectory of a rise here. We don't have the annual 9th grade on track yet for this year, because this year isn't over. They calculate, or they pull that together as an annual metric at the end of the year. But I thought this would be important for you to see, is the trajectory over time. And you can kind of see how we mimic, maybe not to the sophistication, but to some degree, we mimic their data. So they've disaggregated their data by race and ethnicity, and there's a variety of ways you can sort it. By program over time, so ELL, migrant ed, special education, and then by race and ethnicity here for Centennial, right? And if you want to get really fancy, you can look at other like districts of like size and so forth, right? But that's for Centennial. And then also, I pulled up 4-year graduation rate for the Northwest Regional ESD site as well, so you can see it over time. It'll take just a second to come up, because it's live, even though it's annual. So you'll see here over time what it looks like with the very last year. Obviously, we don't have 4-year graduation rates yet, but when we do, you'll see, especially when it's cleaned up, it'll show up here. And again, by race and by program, right? Very helpful. And then, again, 5-year completer rates here. Over time. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. So we did see an increase last year over the year before. And you can see how we've done with students of different services and across race and ethnicities here. So I thought that would be helpful for you as context for our work here, because we're not yet going to see the end results for these metrics, but we are monitoring 9th grade on track based on the number of credits they've achieved so far. You need to achieve 6 by the end of the year to be on track, and obviously we can do that over the year. If we parse that out over the course of 3 trimesters, it equals to 2 credits per term, and you'll see here by our baseline of 2024-25 was 79%. Our goal is to get 9th grade on track at the end of the year by 90% or more. At fall, we were at 77.4, and last I checked, we were still working out the metrics for the credits earned over winter. As soon as I get that, I'll plug that in there, right? And so you'll see some metrics here as well, and a holding spot there for us when we get to the graduation rate. So that is an update in terms of looking at the measures related to our strategic plan. Any questions?
Directors?
I have a question, but not in regards to this. It's more for James. You had mentioned doing a strategic plan update. Do we plan on using the same firm we used last time?
Good question. I was planning on addressing this in my year-end summary, but you're going to get a preview now. we're looking at insourcing that effort unless the board directs and suggests otherwise for a variety of reasons. I think one thing I would say just at the outset is that the strategic plan that we worked with the outside consulting firm on was 27 pages. We're scratching the surface still in terms of what was intended. And you know, if you were to ask me today in a sentence, I think we should continue doing a lot of what's there versus trying to reset. I think the intentions are good. The execution is what I think needs more refinement. So that's all to say that in terms of what's needed, I don't think it's a complete overhaul. And then in terms of what we've been intending to do is build internal capacity. And as you saw this evening with the product that's been developed, you can see in addition to the other HR-related things that Dr. Kasuda is doing, that she's also leaned heavily into this aspect. And with Principal Miller coming into HR next year, she'll be able to dive even more into the strategic plan aspect and be able to help facilitate that internally rather than through a consulted service.
I think that's a great call.
Yep.
This is just, I don't know, nitpicky or something about the graphs. I really appreciate all the data. I love just, I have way too much fun clicking and choosing all the filters and everything. And I noticed this on the Northwest Regional ESD 9th grade on track. They've got for the years, when you just got a single data point for each year, they use that line graph. I find that really useful for seeing the trends, and I see opportunities to use that on this. I would, however easy or difficult it is, yeah, the line versus the bar, for anything where we can see that trend. But other than that, I don't have any questions. Thanks for providing a lot of detail in the presentation.
I just have a wondering, it's not really a question that needs an answer, but just kind of looking at that attendance data over time, my wondering is that getting kindergartners to stay at school is so hard, but my wondering is if we look at more of that high dosage tutoring and using those interventions and structures, if maybe a second grade focus, if our data continually shows that the lowest attenders are the Ks and then the ones, but second grade popped up, like just still wondering if that's something that in considering a new strategic plan or looking at different strategies, if we know we're getting most of the kids here for that grade, right? It's just, doesn't need an answer, I was just wondering, like, and it's always hard to keep kindergarten kids in school. I don't know why, probably because it's not required, but it's just a thing everywhere, and so it just kind of popped up. So.
Well, I have a response, and it's actually not to your wondering, but it's a response.
Oh, I love responses.
So I'll say the really positive thing is the district will be building out preschools across the district. Preschools are a very successful lever in practice for improving kindergarten and attendance rates throughout and partnering with families and so forth. So that is a pretty important that's a pretty important move for the district that I think needs and warrants some recognition. And I do believe that that's going to support attendance as well as lots of other things.
Would there be a way to eventually then track our preschool attendance to see how that connects to our kindergarten attendance?
Are we? I believe we are tracking preschool attendance. Yeah.
So that would be fascinating to add to that dashboard. I know we're not going to do all of the other data points, but if we are able to collect the attendance rates, it would be interesting to see maybe and disaggregate it by school buildings or location, just a way to look at where we could target that very specifically.
Yep.
So.
That's a good idea, and as I recall from the presentation we had from Pal Butte, I think they referenced the attendance data being pretty good, which is a buck in the trend, because kindergarten is usually your lowest across your district, which wasn't the case in the data that we just saw, but generally speaking, yes. Yeah, I agree. Good idea.
I have a question. It's not, well, I ask it every single time we see this data. You know, we see 79% of our students are on track to graduate, but we see 34.4% of them can actually read at grade level 11, and 16% can have math at grade level. Why is it such a widespread? And that it seems like we're sending our students into the community without them actually having the knowledge that they need. we're falling short there, and we need to do something about that. Like, why is that discrepancy such a wide band? And I've asked it, I just bring it up every time because it needs to be brought up.
That is a very important question. The follow-up question to that would be to practitioners, what do grades mean in their classrooms, right? If you assign, or if a student earns a particular grade, what does that mean to the, how are we coming up with that grade, right? One of the things we're working on in working with the 9th and 10th grade core teachers at the high school is what we call proficiency-based practices. Proficiency-based grading is a part of those practices. That means as they're working with students, they're very clear with students as to what they're learning and how they know they're learning it. And their grades actually reflect students' ability to develop a level of proficiency or whatever the objective is around the learning. So then the grades we see will be more reflective of what students know and can do. Right now, across the board, there's a wide variance as to what grades actually represent in our schools and at the high schools, not, obviously at the high school. Grades could mean completion of tasks, and the task could vary across levels of rigor, from low to high rigor, and maybe not at grade level, maybe not attached to a particular proficiency based on a standard, right? And so the work and the intentional work at the high school is to focus in on what practices are we engaged in providing students feedback, and grades as part of that. Grades should be feedback towards improvement and reflective of their proficiency at the end of the term, right? And so there are a lot of practices tied into that. Some, for example, might be if a student turns in an assignment that isn't demonstrating proficiency, they have an opportunity to go back, relearn, and resubmit that assessment or that test or that assignment and earn a higher grade, which is indicative of what they can know and what they know and can do, right? So in a proficiency-based model, you don't have a one try, one shot model. You have multiple tries to demonstrate, to learn more, go back, redo, and demonstrate proficiency. And that's this idea that we're focused on growth and supporting students in that, and really centering grades on as another form of feedback to students in terms of what they know, right? And so it is a good question. So why are we able to pass students through high school with low levels of proficiency? Graduating from high school is predicated on grades and credit. Grades aren't necessarily predicated on what students know and can do. And as soon as we connect those two things, we'll start to see some alignment there, if that makes sense.
I've heard Director Harden ask this question quite a bit, but Director Olson hasn't had the opportunity to take a run at the response.
I don't know that there's much more I can add from what Dr. Kitsuda just shared. A lot of it is really thinking about proficiency, and I know she mentioned it, but proficiency based on the standards. So are we also, or is the grade assessing what students know and can do, and is what we're asking students to know and can do at the rigor of what the standards that we are presented to instruct on is asking our students to be able to perform. And so again, kind of like we've been doing the standards mapping with our elementary grade levels, there's that opportunity to really look at, are our courses aligned to the things that the state has outlined for us that students are responsible to know and be able to do, and that teachers are responsible to ensure that.
Long-winded response, sorry, but that's
It's
a very
okay. I'll ask it
complex
again
question.
next time too.
Yes, yep, yeah.
All good questions. Thank you, directors. Dr. Katz, I was wondering, just briefly touch on the staff pulse survey and the family caregiver survey. So when I'm looking this at home, I have a better understanding of what I'm.
Yeah, so the staff and parent and caregiver survey have questions that are aligned to the student survey. So if students say, one of the survey questions, I feel like I belong at this school, then there'll be a similar question for the staff and a similar question for parents to reflect on whether or not when they come in they're welcomed and feel a sense of belonging at the school. we look at the outcome or the responses to all the surveys and compare how different groups respond to that, and then try to adjust our practices based on that.
Great, thank you. I just filled mine out, so I just want to see how it all worked together.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Perfect. Any other final thoughts or questions on this topic, directors? Looks like everybody's good. All right, well, thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the superintendent's reports.
All right, I've got a relatively brief report this evening. Greetings. Thank you. I was looking to gather an applause there. Greetings, board members. It is my pleasure and privilege to share with you this update about happenings in our school district. For this month's district office display board, Pleasant Valley Elementary highlights student learning through writing, research projects, and visual representations of student thinking across grade levels. The display showcases informational writing, research connected to global studies, and student-created work that demonstrates how students organize and communicate their ideas. Students are developing literacy skills, as you saw in the presentation earlier, and using them to communicate ideas, organize information, and explain their thinking. The display also highlights elements of student voice and belonging, with opportunities for students to share personal interests, reflect on their identities, and to contribute to their classroom and school community. These experiences reflect Roadmap 27 priorities related to literacy, student voice, and inclusive learning environments. And you can see when you look at the board that they've tried to make really explicit connections. And in fact, if you look at the image on the top right, it's a little hard to see, but you can see it in the hallway. As you can see, the student has recreated the roadmap, in this case to high school. So they're really trying to reinforce the strategic plan to the classroom level. There's a few celebrations in the month of April. The first is Arab American Heritage Month, which was featured earlier this evening with the board's proclamation. First recognized federally in 2019 and signed into state law in 2021. This month provides an opportunity to honor the histories, cultures, traditions, and achievements of Arab Americans in our community and throughout our country. Each April, schools across the country celebrate School Library Month. First celebrated in 1985, School Library Month honors the contributions of school libraries and library staff to support student literacy, learning, and achievement. Please join me in thanking each of our Centennial School District library managers for your work in connecting our students to critical resources offered in our school libraries. April is, as you heard earlier, April is also World Autism Awareness Month, a time dedicated to fostering understanding and acceptance for individuals with autism. First recognized in the United States in 1988, Autism Awareness Month promotes acceptance, advocacy, inclusivity, and support. The infinity symbol represents the limitless potential of autistic individuals. It is often shown in rainbow coloring, symbolizing the diversity of the autism community. In Centennial, we know that registering a child for kindergarten is an exciting time for families. We also know it can bring up a lot of questions, which is why we are hosting our annual Connect to Kindergarten event on Thursday, May 7th, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at each of our 6 elementary schools across the district. During this event, attendees can meet the principal and teachers, learn what to expect during kindergarten, tour the school, explore a school bus, visit a kindergarten classroom, and receive registration information and registered for the early kindergarten transition program. Is that right, April? They can register for EKT at that time. The dates of which will be available, I believe, in May. School tours will be happening between 5 and 6 p.m. with online registration assistance available between 6 and 7 p.m. Any child who will be 5 years of age or below, or before, excuse me, let me just start that over. Any child who will be 5 years of age on or before September 1st is eligible for enrollment in kindergarten at their designated neighborhood school. Information and instructions for online registration are available on the district website. Last Thursday, the district held the second meeting of the Facilities Advisory Committee at Centennial High School, where participants continued their work on the long-range facilities planning process. During the meeting, the committee reviewed information related to financial considerations and bond funding, including current levy rates, outstanding debt, and comparative data from neighboring school districts. Participants also engaged in discussion around the educational vision and facility needs, including learning spaces, safety and security, and areas for potential improvement across school sites such as classrooms, student services spaces, and outdoor areas. The committee will meet for its third and final session this spring on April 30th as the process moves into identifying and refining potential long-range priorities. It was nice to have Directors Newman and Harden, as well as Vice Chair Mooring, in attendance, and welcome them to share anything they would like about their session here in a moment. And with that, I invite any questions or comments you might have, and that concludes my superintendent's report.
Any questions or comments?
One comment, I think that we should let children design the posters now for all the roadmappy thingies that we do. Their artwork is far superior.
I second that.
Especially after we saw the display board.
Perfect. Dr. Harden, any reflections?
Just that, you know, with Library Month, I think it's pretty cool that for Powell Butte, the Classroom Improvements Project, that we are, if all goes well, we'll approve it tonight, and that will help the Powell Butte Library.
Good stuff. And just to take a cue from Superintendent Owens, the facilities advisory meetings are going really well. Dr. Harden was able to join us in this last one. People are excited. They're engaged. A lot of good dialogue taking place, and they're very well attended. So there's a lot of interest in support for what we're doing. So I think that bodes well for our overall bond planning going into fall. Perfect. If there are no other questions or thoughts on the superintendent's report, we'll now move on to action items, which were distributed before the board book. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve confirmation items.
Second, please. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we need Director Newman?
There's 4 of us.
We have Chair Shields online voting in the affirmative.
Okay. Thanks for
Thank
clarifying.
you. Yes, thank you. Okay, confirmation items have passed. Perfect. Okay, on to old business. We have updates from the superintendent's committees. Superintendent Owens, is there anything that you wanted to add before we kind of run down the list of those?
Nope, we have the policy committees, and so my understanding is that we'll hear updates from the relevant coordinators of those committees. And I believe also, Vice Chair Mooring, that we were intending to discuss the topic of the CEA report during this time as well.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and we'll start with policy BK, the evaluation of board operational procedures. And Director Newman will report out on our policy group meeting.
Yeah, so Vice Chair Mooring, Director Stanley, and I met with Missy, and we went over the policy BK, which is board evaluation, self-evaluation. The policy was quite dated, and OSBA had a recommended newer policy that is simpler. We discussed that and talked about some pros and cons. We will be presenting the first read at the business meeting, work group meeting later this month, as well as discussing kind of restarting our own self-evaluation.
Go us, first policy committee, put a policy out. Okay, next on my list here is the budget committee positions. Dr. Slawski, do you have a?
Yeah, we're ready to put it up too. No, so we've gone back and forth, and we have some recommendations. We haven't heard back from Pam yet, but we feel like it's easy enough that we're probably ready to move forward.
Excellent.
I was slacking. Sorry.
No, you're good. You got back.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Thank you. And Director Stanley, you'll report on field trips and excursions. I hear this has been a wonderful topic.
It is a to-do. It is a long to-do. We're still currently collecting information from all elementary schools. Principal Miller and Director Shields and I met, and we discovered that all the elementary schools have different ways of doing their protocols. So we are really hoping to help streamline the process. So Missy's helping us collect all of that information. Great conversations with the high school perspective and the lens as to what all of that can entail, what it should entail. It's gonna be a process, but the hope is that everything will become an easier process to have everybody follow, which will hopefully lead to more opportunities for our kids.
Great, wonderful. We also have a policy committee for board member compensation and expense reimbursement review. Director Lynn is not here. We have started to email. Director Newman is on that committee along with myself and Director Lynn. We've got an email chain scheduled, so I may start to have some information forward. And then, as Superintendent Owens mentioned, we have been in discussion of creating a work group to return the CEA report to the board, and wanted to do it in the collaborative way of doing it. So myself, Director Stanley, and Director Newman, Director Newman and I had actually been working on some of this in the background during negotiations, and then Director Stanley had expressed interest in being a part of that group as well. And then Assistant Superintendent Dr. Katsuda will be joining us as our staff liaison, and then we will connect with Drew Rosa and another CEA representative of his choosing, if you wish, to come together and figure out what those parameters are, and then we'll present it to the full board and get that report returned back. Oh, go ahead.
Do you know if the classified workers also would like their report back? Because it was at that time, it was both. I think it would be good to include them in the conversation as well if we're opening that back up.
We briefly talked about that the other day as well, and to our knowledge, we haven't asked, but we haven't been informed that they wanted to, but we can certainly make the outreach.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
To
Talked about making the offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was what I was gonna mention.
Oh,
is
okay.
We also were gonna offer to the class.
Okay, great.
Can I ask questions, or would you rather me send them to the work group?
Yeah, you can send it to, I'm the facilitator, so if you just want to shoot them over to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
'cause
we don't really have anything concrete to present to anyone.
I guess the thing I would like to know a little bit is the history, because we have had it before, and I'm just curious, one, why it went away, and, because I just don't, a little bit of the history of, because we have had that as part of the program with both union groups, and I'm just curious, why did the process stop? A little bit of history there, and I don't know, just a little bit of context.
I think I'm going to defer to the board much longer.
I was chair at that time, and at that time, so they weren't always part of it. I know that there were some previous board members who worked really hard to get those set up on a recurring basis. It became, there was a point in time where both, I would meet with both the CEA and the OSE, or no, is that right? OSEA representatives. And it was not feeling like it was meeting either of their needs or what they wanted. And so at that point, the decision was to stop coming. I'll be quite honest that some of the people that would come just felt like it wasn't any good, doing much good, and they couldn't really share things that they wanted to share. And so I think that this will be one of the things that will be really important with this work group is putting some parameters around what do we want to hear from that board report, what did they want to share with us, and what is, really work together to determine how we can use that to the best of everyone's ability, because it got to the point where it wasn't feeling like a useful space. And then as leadership changes, right, it's a whole new wave of people. And so I think that it's really important to have this conversation.
Great. Thanks for the history.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Okay, great. I think that wraps up our Superintendent Policy Committee update. On to new business. We have the consideration and ratification of the CEA and CSD contract agreement. It looks like Assistant Superintendent Dr. Katsuda is listed next to this. Did you have something to tee us up on here? While she's coming up and getting ready, directors will be taking a poll vote, and we'll go around the room to have each of our votes recorded individually for ratification. And it'll be alphabetical by last name. Hello.
Hello. Representative of the district, I recommend that the board approve the 2025 to 28 collective bargaining agreement between ECBC, CEA, and Centennial School District.
Okay, thank you.
Keep it simple.
Okay, we're going to go, as I said, to do a...
Do we need a motion to approve?
Oh, we probably do, huh?
Can I make a motion
open
to
that up?
approve the ratification of the ECBC, CEA, and CSD contract agreement?
Second.
Yeah, perfect. All those in favor of opening vote and conversation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, perfect. Do we need any additional conversation? Checking with Chair Shields as well online.
I'm good to go.
Okay. Proceed to the vote. Director Hardin, Director Hardin.
I like that.
Votes aye.
Yes,
And
I approve.
thank you. Director Newman.
Yes, absolutely.
Director Newman votes in the affirmative. Thank you. Director Lynn is absent. Director Moore and myself, I vote aye in the affirmative. Chair Shields.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Director Solowski.
Aye.
Aye. And Director Stanley.
Resounding yes.
Wonderful. We are in unanimous agreement. Good work to everybody, and thank you to Drew and Jonathan for hanging in there. I know it's been a long minute. Okay, perfect. We are on to the future. What do we have in store for the work session, Superintendent Owens?
All right, our first budget committee meeting is scheduled for 6 p.m. that evening, so note the difference that evening, and it's virtual. The board work session is scheduled to start directly after. We'll talk at board leadership about what time, but probably about 7:30. We also have the opportunity to recognize Teacher Appreciation Week. We will potentially, have a long-range facility planning mid-process update from DLR. I need to check with them since we received a somewhat recent update to see if that's the appropriate time or if they just want to do that during the July board retreat. And then we have calendars coming up as well. I'm not sure if they'll be ready for the work session, but they're on the horizon, and that's the school year calendars for 26-27, and then corresponding board meeting calendar as well. And I know that there was intended to be some discussion about board meeting day of the week as well.
Board members, anything for future considerations? Okay, anything for the good of the order?
I got something for the good of the order. Centennial Youth Football. So they are looking for donations and fundraising. They have moved over to Pop Warner, and they are hoping to minimize the cost to the athletes. They've had a great turnout these last couple years. They've been on an upward trajectory. They really need some funding help. So if people know of grants, if people know of ways that they can be supported, reach out to the Centennial Youth Football. Happy to put you in contact with Chris Dowell and Rudy Watzig are the heading that. So by all means, if you can spare a couple bucks, they would appreciate it. It would go to a good cause.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Do you know if they have like a green drop account or something like that?
Or bottle drop or something?
The bottle, that's what I meant, bottle drop.
Bottle Drop, I do not know if they have a Bottle Drop account.
I can reach out to Chris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, Director
Just
Stanley.
look for updates as Mount Hood Repertory Theater will be housed in the high school this summer, putting on a professional production of Into the Woods that will be using some of our high school students in roles, but also hopefully with props and sets and costumes and designs, and allow the high schoolers to work alongside professional actors. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity, but hopefully we can fill the auditorium with seats as well, because it will lead to further partnerships. So
Is there a run date of program?
there is a run date, and yes, yours truly is in it. Okay. We will open August 7th and run through the 23rd.
Perfect. August 7th through August 23rd. Excellent. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time tonight. We accomplished a lot of good deal of work for our community. We're going to adjourn at 8:57 p.m.
Record